I see they say the board really goes back to 1915 or 14 or something like that, but of course, Mr. Joe, everybody met down at the Alba Club, a group of people.
They started meeting in July 1920 at the Alba Club, and they called a meeting and only about 20% of the people showed up because they didn't want to get too organized. They wanted to keep it where it was a loose organization.
At that time, most of the people in there, like Julius Marx and George Irvine especially, they were in Jim Van Antwerp. They had a lot of influence with the city and what they did.
One of the old timers was Arthur Tonsmeyer. He was very active with the association. He was president back in the 20s or 30s. And then Gus Thames also. But when I first came into business, they were still very active with the association. And they were paramount on getting this business organized for the 50s and 60s.
Part of this growth that we've had over this last 30 years, I contribute a lot of that to Jeff Newman. He has led this organization for 33 years, and he set the example in a lot of different ways. Coming to the board when I was younger and looking up to certain people, I think about Pat Baltrop, Bob Berg, Bill Carpenter, people like that that really were quality people, that really set the stage for the ones that came after them.
After I worked for Rick Castle for a couple of years, I went to work with Jamie Prater. She had been with Jean Duke, who was very talented and creative. But anyhow, she got me to go to work for her, and she really taught me everything that I learned before we went off on our own.
She was always so enthusiastic and did so many things for the organization that we really miss her, and so she was a great person.
I'd say one of my mentors in the real estate business is my mother, Sue Winter. She's been a broker in the real estate business here now for over 37 years. She had a big influence on me as getting involved in the real estate business, growing up in it. Real estate is a lifestyle, and so I was along by her side, in the offices, at night eating dinner with her, during the day on Saturdays while she was out showing property and dealing with real estate transactions.
The industry has changed over the years from then to now. First of all, the MLS system was completely different.
They had to put out a pink sheet which would list every sale, and then of course I would write the sales price and what they paid for it. And I would imagine that by doing this each day, I got to know the whole downtown area real well.
I remember when we first started, when all we had was little, as far as the MLS, little sheets that were put out kind of on a weekly basis.
As we listed property, we would make flyers, take those flyers over to what was the Board of Realtors then, and everybody would distribute their flyers of their new listing.
And in 1975, we graduated a little bit and started publishing a book.
It was like the Bible almost. I mean, everybody held on to their info, protected their info.
It really served a good purpose. And as we went and kept growing, we end up with a big book.
You just kind of had to do it all on your own. You didn't have all these tools to work with, and cell phones, none of that. We would go to pay phones if we were out showing, and you'd seen something you wanted to show, we would get on, we didn't have anything, we had to stop and go to the pay phone and call. You had to pick up keys, no any of the computer and all that kind of stuff.
The business now, as soon as a listing is entered into the system, of course everybody can see it and get it and be notified. And
what you got to do these days is just all you got to do is pick up your phone, hit a certain key and go to MLS, and everything is right there. All your phone numbers, all your contacts, your lenders, everything. It won't be long you'll be able to look at your watch and probably do the same thing.
Here in Mobile, we always felt like the stepchild. Any education that we wanted to get from the state association, we had to travel to Birmingham. They had no local education from the state, so that was one campaign that we had, that we were able to finished successfully, and they started holding programs here in Mobile.
I've always felt that all the agents need to have more and more education. At my age right now, I'm still learning something new every day.
Because there are a number of companies that are not large enough to have sales meeting each week or some way of educating the people within the company. So by having little mini sessions, we could bring in different people that were strong in some topic.
The Continue Ed is a good thing because it keeps you up to date on what's going on.
What's coming in the future as far as MLS goes, they've done a great job of bringing in outside speakers and allows the newer agents to come listen and start getting their mind thinking in that direction of what's yet to come.
My grandfather started in the business in 1916 in Pittsburgh, and he was a realtor in Pittsburgh and moved to Mobile in 1934 and was a realtor here. And he died in 1940, and then my dad and uncle founded their business in 1946. So we've had a long transition of brothers and cousins, and people have been involved in this board for a long time. So we feel like this is our heritage here, and we're very proud of it.
As we started planning for this 100th anniversary of the Mobile Area Association of Realtors, I got thinking about, there's not many organizations this day and time that can say they're 100 years old. And the fact that we have been able to service the citizens in the Mobile Bay area for over 100 years and handle their real estate and transactions is pretty impressive.
I tell you, real estate was a wonderful way for a female to make some money if she had a family, because you could be home, you could arrange your schedule that you could be home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You could be in control of that mostly, and it just has been good to me. I have loved it, and I know it's probably time to retire, but I just still like it, and so I keep thinking, well, why not?
Well, if you don't know if you noticed, I'm wearing my grandfather's real estate pin here. It's the National Association of Real Estate Boards, and I wore this pin in honor of him, and I think after 100 years, I think we've all got a heritage that we can be very proud of.